Good morning to Budget Day Live, and thank you so much for joining us. It's going to be an incredibly interesting budget. The whole story of this budget will be about how the government manages between the political strains, pulls and pressures from Mamata Banerjee, the DMK not looking extremely cooperative, and yet a lot of expectations from Pranab Mukherjee that in this budget, which is in more ways than one, the last non-election budget, because next year's budget will be a pre-election budget. This is the last opportunity for the UPA to do something substantial to change the direction of the Indian economy. In a few hours from now, Pranab Mukherjee will present the Union Budget 2012. It's the 7th budget that Pranab Mukherjee will be presenting. Morarji Desai presented 10 budgets. The last two times the finance minister gave his budget speeches were memorable. In 2010, the opposition staged a walkout. In 2011, his please all budget was hailed by every political party, but this time, Pranab will have to tap into his vast experience, because the choices he faces are stark. Should he be a reformer or should he be a populist?
He presented his first budget in 1982.
Practically all the concessions which I have announced in the budget proposals lead to the savings. And the fourth important aspect of my proposal is to give incentive for higher production.
Pranab Mukherjee, one of the senior most politicians in India, all set to present his 7th union budget in just a few hours. This one amidst rising political tension, with the UPA's ally trouble compounding on the eve of the budget. For the finance minister, the last two budgets he presented as part of UPA 2 have both been memorable. The 2010 budget for its walkout,
Specified agricultural machinery not manufactured in India. The government will move towards direct transfer.
and the 2011 budget for its smooth sailing.
Below poverty line in a phased manner.
Come 11 a.m. and Pranab Mukherjee will once again be faced with a tightrope walk. And while the finance minister promised gradual reforms the last time around,
I do not like to make premature announcement and thereafter to find explanations why it is not being done. For FDI, apart from in certain areas which we should open for the FDI, I have clearly conveyed certain messages.
will Pranab today present a pro-reforms budget, or will he take the populist route once again?
Let's lay the agenda this morning. Joining us, we have a fantastic panel. Lord Meghnad Desai, thank you very much. Very well-known economist. Thank you very much. Subhashish Gangopadhyay, very well-known economist, and also from IDF and the Shiv Nadar University, where he's a dean. Manisha Priyam Sahai, research scholar at the London School of Economics and political scientist. Thank you very much. Swapan Dasgupta, one of India's best-known sharpshooting columnists, senior journalist. Thank you very much. We have with us this morning opinion editor of the Financial Express, Sunil Jain. Surojit Dasgupta, who is the policy editor of the Times of India. Ashok Malik, senior journalist and columnist. Thank you very much. And Dr. Rajiv Kumar, Director General of FICCI. It's good to see you face to face this morning. Thank you very much. Fantastic panel. And of course, Navika Kumar is very much with us today, laying the agenda out. Let me first ask you, Navika, what are you looking at in this budget? What's the headline you're hoping to get?
Well, we've seen doses of reforms over the last 48 hours. We've seen the railway budget where there was a look at hiking rail fares which hadn't been touched for 10 years.
Yeah.
That's one signal that came just 48 hours ago. And then, of course, we've seen the EPF, Employee Provident Fund rate cut that has been announced yesterday and is all over the newspapers this morning, down from 9.5% to 8.25%. So clearly, it shows that the government is prepared to take some tough calls this budget, something that they haven't done over the past. But how far will Pranab Mukherjee go? That's the big question.
That's the big question. EPF cuts indicates something. Absolutely. Let's put the debate out. Do you think this indicates, Lord Desai? And I'd like to tell our panelists, please throw yourself straight into the debate. Does the EPF cut, which has, I think, gone a little unnoticed by the media this morning, does it indicate that now Pranab Mukherjee will do as someone said, I think Suro said, Pranab Mukherjee will do what Dinesh Trivedi this morning? Tough.
Absolutely.
You think
I
so?
think Dinesh Trivedi gave the first indication, and I think the EPF is a very strong indication that this budget is not going to be populist. If they'd wanted a populist budget, they would not have done this. So he's going in there, all fists flying, he's expecting trouble, but he is going to be a reformist finance minister today.
Well, will he be a reformist finance minister in terms of saying no to Sonia Gandhi's social sector schemes? Swapan Dasgupta, do you agree with that?
No, I don't agree.
You don't agree with
at
that?
all. You see, there are two elements to this budget. One is what affects the consumer, and one is what affects the government. I think what we are going to see, if the EPF cut is anything to go by, that it's going to be the consumers who are going to be squeezed in some way or the other. They are going to have to pay. But the obligations of the government to do something corresponding, I think that I'm very skeptical whether political imperatives will allow that. So you're going to see some sort of a reformist measure, some sort of a revenue generating model coming up as far as the consumers are concerned, but not a corresponding cut in government expenditure.
Yesterday evening, Rajiv Kumar sparked off that debate right here on Times Now. When you, I think you said that Pranab Mukherjee is going to say no to, should say no, or you expect should say no to the food, to the food bill.
I think so. I think you will get. Let me put it in the most understated way, which is that this will be a budget which will be more than just rhetoric, and this will be more than just sort of kind of sort of say hello to the reforms. It will be actually they will have some reformist measures.
But they've raised expectations already. You said that there's going to be a bill which will cover 65% of India, 75% of rural India. Can you really afford? You've lost elections. The elections coming up.
You've lost
People
elections.
are talking of midterm elections.
As I said yesterday, I think the elections have said to the left wing of the Congress party that your leash has run out. I mean, you come to the end of the road. And so therefore give it to the others and give the others a chance, and I think this is the time when this will happen.
So
Ashok,
Ashok
Malik, the political scenario at this stage, do you think that gives enough legroom to Pranab Mukherjee to actually put through the reforms that he would want to, given that this is the last serious budget before next year's pre-election budget?
See, I think you have to distinguish between what may be a reformist budget, a forward-looking reformist budget, and what may well be a fiscally responsible budget, where the finance minister says we are living beyond the means. The government is, we need to raise revenue, we need to raise, say, excise or indirect taxes and get our own books in order. That may not necessarily be a reformist budget. That may just be a fiscally responsible budget. I think we are headed towards that.
But you've had a huge blow to the Congress. There's a perceptional, people are talking, perceptional anti-Congress sentiment in the country. So political wisdom here is that at the cost of economic wisdom, you have to dictate that the government go in for a full throttle populist budget to regain ground. How would the Congress party have changed its thinking in the last 2 weeks? Can they change their thinking in last 2 weeks that, okay,
absolutely. I completely agree. It's very difficult to expect the Congress to change its, in the last 2 weeks. That's point number one. Point number two is that even for the sake of argument, if Pranab Mukherjee says that I'm going to have a reformist budget and I'm going to do everything, the fiscal deficit will be down to 5% or 3% or 2%. Let's not forget the government has zero credibility today. The last budget gave you fiscal deficit numbers that looked good. So what's going to happen now is that markets will probably cheer if there's a reformist budget. But they're going to wait through the year to see how the government behaves with corporates, to see whether the government actually lives up to its expectation. The government has borrowed 1 lakh crore rupees more than what it promised at the beginning of last year. So even today, we're going to talk about the budget, but even today what we see is not going to be the final
Rajiv
thing.
Kumar says today, government may take a bitter pill. You think he'll take the bitter pill? You think Sonia Gandhi will allow Pranab Mukherjee?
I think that the government will probably make a very small allotment for the food security bill. So
small allotments don't work. That's changing the whole nature of the food security bill.
So Rajiv is right from that point of view. But the question is, will Pranab Mukherjee over the year be able to stick to what he promises to do?
Let's get the initial thoughts.
My short point simply is that this is perhaps the last chance for the UPA and the Congress government to get back its credibility, and I think they will.
But they're a political party, Dr.
Sorry?
Kumar. They're a political party. Their idea is to remain in power.
I know, but what I'm saying is that they've tried the other medicine before. It has failed. So it is just logical for them, and I don't think.
And Rajiv, you're assuming they're logical.
I'm assuming they're logical.
You think that's going to happen?
On the food security bill itself, the backers of the bill are mainly outside of the government. It's a small lobby of people who work in the development sector. Their power has been whittled down through the course of the year through many agitations that happened. So on the food security bill, Pranab Mukherjee has the option to bite the bullet and really not go in for it. There are many critics of the bill. Economists from all over the world have written an an open letter to the Prime Minister saying that the bill in this form is really just a wasteful government expenditure that's going to come
but
in.
it's gone through
And on the,
regardless.
yeah, but the point is that, you know, these kind of expenditures, the more close to elections you make such expenditures, you get the returns. If you do it this year, you don't get the
And
necessarily
there are
get the
no
returns.
major
in the-
elections till Gujarat.
Absolutely.
You know,
So
towards
do
the
it
end of
next
the
year.
So,
Do it
so
next year. Why
frankly,
even
we are
this
not
year?
looking at any elections at this point in time. And
Yeah.
you know,
I
but
mean, the
there are
whole-
several sectors which also need attention. Dr. Shubhashish, do you think those sector specific or the investment fillip is something that we'll see in this budget?